If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're single. So, welcome, my fellow single people. Keep hanging in there. Our time will come. Patience truly is key. And what even is patience? It's just doing something in the meantime. So, in the meantime, let's get our money right. Real quick, my name is Anyeli. I'm a financial coach, and I help people increase their cash flow without having to work more, as well as organize and simplify their whole financial life. Which brings me to the first step. Simplify your financial life. So if you have so much clutter, so many bank accounts, so many checking accounts, savings account, IRAs in different places, you don't need all that. All you really need is just one good bank account that does not charge you monthly fees. That's a huge thing because it adds up. If you have a whole bunch, you can always consolidate them into your favorite, right? And then you have your checking account and your savings account there. Easy. I would also recommend you have a high yield savings account with a separate bank that also doesn't charge fees. I'll get into that a little bit later. But with these two banks, you should be good to go. Don't be afraid to close out banks too. Like, you don't owe them any loyalty. The next step is to start making spending plans or budgets. Okay, no, budgets are not limiting or restricting. It's just making a plan for your money before it gets spent so you're not wondering where the money all went. So with each paycheck, you need to be dividing out that money. So I like to keep it simple, just 4 categories: bills, essentials, lifestyle, and savings. I go more into that in another video. I'll leave it linked in the description so you can watch that afterwards. But this is of utmost importance because it's money is a horrible master but a great servant. So you need to tell it what to do. No joke. Once you start making spending plans, you'll see everything really changes from there. And I actually made a free money template to help you get started with this. Just message me on Facebook with the words money template and I'll send it right over to you. So with this money template that I give away, it makes it so easy, just like a visual of you dividing out the money and telling it where to go. But you also need an app, right? A budget app. And this is great for when you're out and about. So let's say you have you planned $200 max to go toward eating out. So let's say you're out and about and you buy something, you can easily just deduct that money. So let's say you spent 20 bucks. Okay, minus 20, and it tells you your updated balance. So that way you're never wondering, you don't have to log into your bank account each time to know okay, where you're at. So you definitely want to download an app and start getting in the habit of doing this. And also you want to make sure that the app that you choose has the capability of adding another person. So that way when you do get married, you can just add your spouse and you guys can be up to date on everything. I'll leave listed a few good apps that I recommend down in the description. Okay, so now that we talked about a high overview of a simple money system, now let's talk about savings. So the first goal is to have at least $1,000 in a starter emergency fund. $1,000 should be enough to cover most emergencies, but like I said, $1,000 is a good goal just because it's pretty attainable, right? Now, later on, yes, you do want to have at least 3 to 6 months expenses, in a savings account or high yield savings account. But for now, just start with $1,000, okay? Next up, after you have that $1,000, you want to start going ham on the debt, right? One at a time. Start off with the highest interest debt first. Pay the minimums on all of them, but you want to put extra on the highest interest debt first, and then once you pay that off, go to the second highest, so on, so forth. Also, another strategy could be start off with the debt with the lowest balance, the smallest debt. Sometimes it can be motivating to see them just get wiped out so fast, but if you want to save the most money, start with the highest interest debt. It just depends on your personality, so yeah. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that you want to have a high yield savings account with a different bank than your day-to-day spending bank, right? I love Ally because it lets you have just one savings account and separate out into different buckets, and that is what you want to do. So your first bucket should be the $1,000 emergency fund. That should not be in your traditional bank, okay? Because you barely get any interest. Put it in the high yield. Also, along with that, you want to have different buckets, I call it, for different things in your life that you know are going to happen, but they kind of catch us by surprise. So, for example, one of my favorites is having a car maintenance fund bucket because, if you own a car, oil changes, inspections, registration, all that, whatever. So you want to make sure that, you have a little bit set aside just so whenever it comes up, you're good to go. If you want to buy a house, have a house fund. If you want to go on vacation, have a vacation fund. You want to have it separate just because it's just satisfying to see. And it has bars, so each time you put money, the bars goes and increases. It's just fun. Also, the main thing with these things too, every single bucket needs to have a monetary goal. So we don't just want to be saving forever and ever and ever. We want to fill up these buckets. When these buckets are full, now we can take all that cash flow and buy assets. All right, that's a whole nother video. Assets are things that put money into your pocket, like rental properties, businesses, things like that. So speaking of assets, yes, you do want to invest. The easiest way to invest is in the stock market. I have interesting views on this, but hey, it's available for everybody. So you really want to divide out your money into, okay, if you have debt, how much do you want to pay into debt? How much do you want to put into your buckets? And how much do you want to invest? So the first thing is definitely the $1,000 emergency fund. I would say hold off on investing until you get that emergency fund because I mean, what if something happens? You're just gonna go deeper into debt. So that is of utmost priority. But after you have that, squared away, now you can decide, okay, how much do I want to put into these buckets, the rest of the savings buckets? How much do I want to throw into the debt? And how much do I want to invest? So it really just depends on your situation. I do offer one-on-one financial coaching because I understand it can be kind of difficult to decide like where your money should go and everything. So I do guide people there. But really just stick to your goals. Like if you know your goals, it makes it so much easier to know like what to do with your money. All right, we're almost done. Hang in there, y'all. So the next thing I'm gonna talk about is credit. Yeah. I already know. Listen, there's some pretty simple things that you can do to help you get started to increase your credit score. So the first thing you want to do is go to annualcreditreport.com and pull your credit score for free. Or another one I like is My Free Score Now. That one is a free trial, so you can get your report and then cancel it. I think it just has such a more cleaner look. But anyways, pull your credit report and you want to see how they spell your name. If there's any inaccuracies, you want to dispute it. All right. Also, if they have a whole bunch of old addresses or old employers, you want to write a letter to the 3 credit bureaus, pretty much telling them like, this old address is not relevant. This is not even accurate to where I'm living now. Basically, you just want your current employer, your current address. Make sure your name is spelled correctly throughout the 3 credit bureaus. And this is huge because let's say you have any negative marks or charge off accounts, right, that are connected to any old addresses, that can make it harder to verify, right? So you really want to clean it up. And also because, I mean, your past shouldn't really be on there anyways. So it's kind of like a win-win, right? So to type out the letters, go to ChatGPT, just tell them exactly what you need the credit bureaus to do. Put it in there and then ChatGPT will give you a letter. It's great. So the next thing is to be more open about financial transparency, all right? Money does not have to be a taboo thing. We all have to deal with money to survive in this society. So, we don't have to be so uncomfortable to talk about it. So when you do start talking to somebody or like before you get married, right? It's so good to ask them questions. You really need to know how they are with money, especially if they have a lot of debt or something like that. Maybe don't ask them right away, but there are certain ways that you can ask it to make it so you can like really see what headspace they're at when it comes to money. So in my next video, I'm going to give you some great questions to ask a potential partner or a spouse that are very subtle, but it'll give you like great insight on like how they view money, how they handle money and stuff like that. It is great because, I mean, let's be real, most divorces unfortunately happen because of money. So if you guys can start off on this great foundation of just being open and like knowing what's up right before you commit to anything long term like that, it's just a great thing. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you know exactly when I upload that video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, God bless.